Out with the cola yesterday, 2.8%, pretty terrible. If you go to the cash register, you go to the gas pump, you pay your electricity. I'm sure it increased more than 2.8% since last year. We've got a phenomenal follow-up story. If you're new to my channel, a lot of people are probably new to my channel today. Got a lot of views on the video yesterday on the cola increase, as normally do every year. But one of the video questions we got with this young lady was out there struggling, and guess what? Thanks to y'all, thanks to our community out there, she got our channel and she was able to make a video question, and guess what? Got some good news for you, some very, very good news. I'll show the video that she made thanking everyone out there that pushed like and subscribe and shared and all that kind of stuff. That's how she got that extra money. So this is a awesome story, and it shows we've done this hundreds of millions of times in terms of we've probably gotten hundreds of millions of dollars for people out there. And I also want to talk about fraud, waste, and abuse. As I mentioned, those are 3 of the 5 magic words that politicians use nowadays. If they say the words fraud, waste, abuse, illegal aliens, then we as American people, it seems like we'll let them do whatever and say whatever and stamp over the Constitution and whatever, who cares? As long as they say one of those 5 words, then they can do whatever they want. I guess that's the reality we're in today. But fraud, waste, and abuse, this is a perfect example of, is there billions of dollars of fraud, waste, and abuse out there? Yeah, but it's not what you think. So let me talk about that right now, but I want to go ahead and show you the video of the lady that y'all helped. So this is her follow-up video from a previous one. So let's go ahead and check it out. This is an awesome story.
Hi, this is Anne. I had called about the 30-year previous. Thank you. And I called right away, like you said, and you said to follow up if I could. And I just want to thank you. The money is almost double. So I'm really grateful.
Did you hear that? The money is almost double. I think she said in the original video she was receiving about 1,000 or so. And the situation was, for those new people out there that didn't see the original video a few days ago, she was married to someone and married to that person when that person passed away. And she thought, like a lot of other people out there, that you hear this 10-year marriage, had to be married 10 years, 10 years, 10 years. Yes, that is correct for a divorce type situation, but she wasn't divorced from this individual. She was married to that person when that person passed away. And she was, I think she was only married for 6 years. And she said, well, I wasn't married for 10 years. So she's been without these benefits for years that she was eligible for. And then she also had another marriage after that. So she thought that also perhaps negated getting survivor benefits, which again is not true because she is now single. She is divorced from that second person. So that doesn't affect her Social Security benefits at all. So we told her, she sent us this video because, again, I just give the information. If I only have 2 people watching, then we only affect 2 lives. But because y'all share, like, subscribe, and talk about it and comment and all that kind of stuff, these stupid YouTube algorithms and all the other social media algorithms get the information out to more people, and we're able to reach more people. And this is how she got that help, because of y'all. And she also had some follow-up questions, but she wanted to thank y'all again.
And I wanted to thank you again so much. And I did have some concerns.
Okay, she shows her, it's blurry, but I want to make sure that I don't show her paperwork there. I don't think you can see it, but I'll just fast forward.
Things that were discrepancies. For some reason, they left out that I used my surviving spouse's name for quite a few years.
Okay, and she had some kind of follow-up questions on there. So number 1, she thanks y'all profusely of what you did to help her, and And in terms of when you get an application from Social Security, you take an application for retirement benefits or survivor benefits. Some of the stuff she mentioned that, oh, there's different names on there, and I didn't talk about this one and stuff. When you file an application to Social Security, and Steve is looking to file as well, and I'll answer Steve's question as part of this as well. But when you file for Social Security benefits, it pulls up what you're called your Numadent, which Elon Musk found, and he thought that's where you got money from, and so he had no idea what he's doing in Social Security. But your Numadent is the record of your Social Security card, the names, when you were born, your parents' names, and stuff like that. So anytime you change your name when you get married or divorced or whatever, it's a record of that. So when you do an application, it picks that up and it puts that in your application. So she's worried about that. So don't worry about it. The stuff she was talking about on the application, it's just formality, bureaucratic type stuff. So you are 100% good. The application you did is good. She asked about the remarks. She said, on the top of the application, it says this, that, and the other, but on the remarks, it's always capitalized for whatever reason. On the remarks underneath, it fixes all that. And basically the remarks underneath that are in capital letters, I'm not sure why MCS, the computer system, does this, but I've done this a million times, is when the claim specialist types in particular remarks, oh, I talked to you about this, and I understand that, this person was married before, but it was under, it was a divorce type situation, it was under 10 years. So they write little remarks to kind of close out that loop. So that corrects anything the computer automatically picked up, because the computer, guess what, AI, going forward, it looks like, is not always right and picks up some strange stuff. So a human being actually has to look at it and say, okay, this is not appropriate, this is not relevant, so I'll just write in little remarks there. So she said, well, on the application it says this, but on the remarks it contradicts it. That's the reason. So you're 100% good. You are getting those benefits, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So congratulations on finding our YouTube channel, asking the question, and now her benefits are going to be doubled. And this is the fraud, waste, and abuse. Before I get to you, Steve, this is the fraud, waste, and abuse. It's not perpetrated by politicians always blaming us for fraud, waste, and abuse. This is politicians' fraud, waste, and abuse. Fraud is one of the things that politicians commit fraud upon us. Is remember all of those decades we pay into Social Security, and part of that is obviously the FICA tax, Social Security tax. You get the 6.2%, yada yada yada. But that money, part of that money, a very super less than 1% of that goes to help when you need it. So all of those decades you paid into Social Security, part of that is said, okay, when I retire at 62 or 67, or if I become disabled, or if I pass away and my survivor needs benefits, this money is going to be there. And here's a few bucks every single paycheck for the past 30, 40, 50 years you worked. Here's a few bucks to pay for someone to help me or my survivor or my children get those benefits, to make sure they get the right check at the right time. And guess what? Politicians have committed fraud, I would argue, by not giving that help to you. Because, and this is nothing new, Social Security, even before Elon Musk and Doge came in and the current administration started cutting employees left and right, over 7,000, Social Security was already at a 50-year low. And this is because politicians over the last few decades, they are, they want to privatize Social Security. So they want to make customer service as terrible as it possibly can, so people will get frustrated and just give up and say, okay, whatever, what's an alternative solution? Well, the alternative solution is just to go ahead and, like Medicare Advantage, which is privatized Medicare, Social Security Advantage, we're just going to privatize Social Security. And so this is the fraud they've committed upon us for 40 years by not fixing this system and not making it better. And therefore, people like me have to come on here and do a live Q&A every day. I mean, I shouldn't have to do this. I'm going to do it for the next 10 or 20 years. Don't get me wrong. I love doing it. But you should be able to call Social Security and they pick up the phone and give you the right answer. And this poor lady, abuse, fraud, waste, and abuse. I'll get to the waste here in a second, but abuse, if that's not abuse, having this poor lady suffer for however many years on only half the income, if that's not abuse, I don't know what is. So politicians have essentially abused people like that. And we have found in our channel, since we've been doing this live for about a year or so, we haven't been doing it very long, but we've probably found $100 million, $200, $300 million in lifetime benefits. Her alone, probably $500,000, because if you're looking at $1,000 over every month for the next 20, 30, 40 years, that's probably $250,000, $500,000 right there. So we've done that. Y'all have done that on a regular basis. So we probably found hundreds of millions, billions of dollars or so in fraud, waste, and abuse by politicians. Waste, don't get us started on waste. Politicians make, sweetheart deals with Medicare pharmaceutical companies, Medicare Advantage plans, paying them extra, the healthcare system. Waste in terms of taking care of our money that we put in the trust fund, and it's running out. So the money is not disappeared or anything like that. That's one of the things that politicians do, try to lie to us, distract us. The money is still there. It just with any savings, eventually savings run out. So there's over $2 trillion sitting in the Social Security Trust Fund. And if you're receiving a Social Security check, then you're getting about 10% of your Social Security check comes from the trust fund. The other 90% comes from people in your community paying into FICA taxes. So 10% comes from that trust fund, the savings account that we put away for decades. And just with any savings account, it eventually goes away. And for 40 years, politicians have known about this and they refuse to do anything about it. So fraud, waste, and abuse, let's turn the tables. And if fraud, waste, if using those three words can let us do anything we want, if politicians can use those three words to do anything they want, then maybe we can use those three words to do anything we want. But I don't know, if we were a participatory democracy, maybe. So, all right. So that's the real fraud, waste, and abuse that's being perpetrated on the American public. Okay, Steve, been waiting 2.5 years to get my first retirement check, and the timing couldn't be worse because the government is closed. I do have a couple of questions to ask, but not sure if openly is appropriate. So yeah, if you want to ask general questions, obviously not specific, your Social Security number or anything like that. But if you want to ask any general questions, this is the time to do it. But the government is closed, but Social Security is considered essential services. I ran the third, if you're new to my channel, I ran the third busiest Social Security office in the country, and I've been through several shutdowns. I was a few shutdowns when I was in the Marine Corps, and Social Security is essential services, so they are open. So you can file for benefits. If you're just looking for simple retirement benefits, and you're not looking for any of the other 20 or 30, 40 programs that Social Security administers, that's one of the problems. People think, oh, it's just, you file online, so easy. No, I did a video on that a few days ago. But number one thing is to make sure you check your earnings record. That's the most important thing. Go on to ssa.gov, check mysocialsecurity.gov, and check to make sure your earnings record is correct, because if that's wrong, you're going to get the wrong check for the rest of your life. But yeah, if you have any general questions, absolutely, go ahead and ask them. All right, let's jump around some questions. Now, do I see why I would elect Dr. Weir for the new commissioner for the Social Security Administration? Don't think he wants the bureaucratic headache. No, I don't. Yeah, I'm never running for political office. No way, shape, or form. So absolutely not. Yeah, I'm too in your face sometimes. And yeah, I wouldn't make a good politician because I can't shut up sometimes. But anyway, but yeah, there is a commissioner of the Social Security Administration, but I guess this administration doesn't think 71 million people on Social Security, you people aren't a big deal to the current administration. And I'm sure a lot of people are yelling at me right now. Okay, if the Social Security Administration is important for the current administration, why did they give the current commissioner of the Social Security Administration, Frank Bisignano, a second job as the CEO of the IRS. This is the first time ever since the invention of Social Security in 1935 that the Commissioner of Social Security is moonlighting as the Commissioner of Social Security, because this administration doesn't think Social Security is a big issue, that 71 million people, the fact that your benefits are going to be cut here by 23%, everybody's benefits going to, it's all not a big deal. No, nothing to see here. Yeah, you're good. Don't really care. Commissioner of Social Security, don't worry about that. You can do that on the weekend, your spare time or whatever. You're now the CEO of the IRS. Yeah, explain that. Makes no sense. Harry was able to apply for Medicare Part A online. After getting through the security, it took only 5 minutes to complete the application. Absolute, perfect. Awesome, I was going to say. So yeah, if you're just filing for Part A because you're turning 65, it's automatic sometimes. If Harry was receiving Social Security benefits, then they would sign you up for Part A and Part B automatically. If you were receiving health insurance at that time, then you just go ahead and, refuse Part B. You can't refuse Part A. 99.9% of people cannot refuse Part A if they're currently receiving Social Security benefits. But B, you can refuse. So Harry has health insurance from work. I hope he does. If not, he's going to be penalized in the future. So Harry has health insurance from current work, his or his spouse's, and that employer has 20 people in that health plan. And because of that, he doesn't have to sign up for Part B, and he just signs up for Part A, online application, pretty easy, prove your status, your age, all that kind of stuff. If it's already proven in the system, they assume that, so it's pretty easy. So yeah, if you know exactly what you need, this is the problem, Harry, is you knew exactly what you need. Harry's, I think, is a regular viewer here, so he knew exactly what was going on. But there's a lot of people out there, like this young lady that we helped, just don't know. And there's the independently entitled divorced spouse benefits and disabled widows benefits and DAC benefits and LSDM. And yeah, there's this LIS, and there's so many programs. People think Social Security is just retirement and Social Security cards, and they think AI can do it, and it's just so much more. I'm so happy for the woman who's receiving her surviving spouse benefits after too many years. And Harry, you were part of that. I know Harry's regularly been here a few times, and I'm sure he's subscribed and made a comment and liked and all that kind of stuff, and you're the reason. And Bella and Nona Dona and Nancy, and let me see some Music Box World and Penelope and Take and Took and who else? Terracotta, and I'm random life things, all the regulars that show up and make comments and teach these stupid algorithms that are focused on making us hate each other. They can be trained just like a puppy to pee where they're supposed to, I guess. I was again, Deborah Joyce, I was again turned down for an application to request my widow's pension benefits by the Social Security office, October 23rd. What did they tell you? So there's a, in order to get widow's benefits, widower benefits, Social Security calls it surviving spouse benefits, you need to be eligible. For surviving spouse benefits, if it's a divorce type situation, you had to be married 10 years. If it wasn't a divorce type situation, if you married to the person, just like the young lady that we helped, you just had to be married to that person for 9 months. There's actually a couple exceptions there. And then you're not currently married, but you can be married if you remarried after 60. So are you currently married? You weren't married to that person for 9 months, or it was a divorce and not married 10 months or 10 years. The only other way would be, it depends on how old you are and whether the benefits of surviving spouse benefits are more than your current benefits. But there are ways to get around that, suspend your current benefits. It really depends how old you are. So Deborah, give us a little bit more information. And we've got a lot of questions. And if I don't get to your question, remember, you can ask a video question. You go onto our website, MyGov Expert. Let me take this off here. Go onto our website there and you click on the little question or comment thing on the bottom left, and you can record up to a 2-minute video if you've got more details. But hopefully I see your more details question here. Bella, what's up, Bella? Are you back from the hospital? Oh, 88 checks and large cuts. We will contact lawmakers to lift the FICA cap. Please call lawmakers. Absolutely. So people, I'm sure some politicians will say, but we did raise the cap. I don't know what Ed's talking about. We just raised the cap. Yeah, they raise the cap every year. The cap was raised from $176,100 to $184,500 for 2026. Anything over that, if you make $5 million, if you make $184,501, you don't pay FICA Social Security tax on that extra $1, anything over that amount. And that's the number one reason why the trust fund is running out. There's two solutions. There's either raise the cap so people pay Social Security tax on every dollar they make, just like the rest of us schmoes, or, as Mark Cuban says, come on, corporations, you're making trillions of dollars of profits. It's time to share that with the people that actually kind of showed up for work. I've gotten Amazon deliveries a lot, too much. And I have never once seen Jeff Bezos deliver those packages. So I think there's other people that work at that factory. Well, now they're all going to be replaced by what they announced, 600,000 robots or something. Or they're not going to hire 600,000 people. They're going to give it to AI and robots. So, all right, let's see. Brian, who got all this money? I could use a few bucks in 71. Retired wife holding the house together, retired because of injury, out of work 3 years. It sucks. Haven't seen a dime. What can we do? So number one is, this is why we do this live Q&A after every topic we talk about every day, is to make sure your current benefit amount is correct, like that one young lady that we helped. And this is not only her, we've thousands of people we've reached over the last year. So number one is to make sure you're getting every penny you're eligible for, every penny you paid into. So retired wife holding the house together. So remember, here's what, not sure if this applies to you. Hopefully your check is correct, but there's a lot of people that don't have a correct check. If you're currently married, remember one spouse can get benefits off the other spouse if the lower earning spouse, their benefit amount is less than half of the higher earning spouse. And what often happens, we've seen way too many times that people look at the wrong numbers. They look at their checks, and that's not what you look at. That's called the MBA, the monthly benefit amount. You don't look at that number. You don't look at that number because one of you might have taken your benefits early, or you've got the deductions from Medicare, or Part D, or whatever the case may be. So that's not the number you look at. You look at your PIA, which is your primary insurance amount, the benefit you would have received if you wait till full retirement age. That's what Social Security looks at to determine whether one spouse can get benefits on another spouse. So the way you find that out is going to My Social Security, and it'll say, hey, it won't say it as a PIA. They should change it and make it as a, primary insurance amount, PIA, also known as how much you would get at your full retirement age. That's how they have it listed. So it'll say, at your full retirement age, you would have gotten this amount. If you can't get in there, just call, if it looks like it might be close and one might be able to get benefits on another, call up Social Security just to double check and say, hey, what's this guy's PIA? What's my PIA? Any money there? And then the other thing is, that's if you're both alive and kicking. For surviving spouses, here's another thing people mess up with, is surviving spouses, it's not 50%. You can receive up to 100%. So a lot of people, they get told by Social Security, they say, hey, am I eligible for benefits on this guy's record or this gal's record? And they say, oh, they look at the benefit amount. Oh, yours is not, less than half of And they say no. And then you don't file. And then you think you're not entitled to benefits on that person's record forever. And then that person passes away. And now you are, because the way the benefits are calculated. There's way too many people out there. Again, that's the fraud on the American people. Social Security is supposed to do a far better job of notifying people of that and helping people get their benefits. But politicians refuse to, they don't want Social Security to succeed. There's half of the politicians that definitely don't want Social Security to succeed. And the other half, I guess maybe, but they're doing a pretty shitty, excuse my French, pretty terrible job of doing that, because benefits are going to be cut by 23% in a few years. So obviously they weren't successful though. So they weren't very good at their job. He is the CEO of the IRS to get his hands on their database, in addition to driving certain audits and browsing of specific records. Yeah, I think you're 100% right there. Allegedly, right? So, yeah, and the CEO of the IRS is there. There's no such thing. They had to make up the title. Yeah, so they made up the title. Remember, if you've got someone in your family or someone that you see down on their luck in the grocery line, and they have a question about this, we ought to get those shirts. You know, you see those shirts that says, "Ask me about Medicare." You ought to get we ought to get some shirts. Somebody out there industrious wants to sell some shirts. Go for it. Ask me about Social Security. And, you know, if they ask questions, you put the phone up there, record the 2-minute video, and then we'll answer it here. So I don't know, just throwing stuff out there. All right, y'all have an awesome night, and please, 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 please take care.